Alright, so now what we are going to learn is rigid taping of the shoulder joint, more precisely the acromioclavicular joint. But this taping is slightly more extensive because this taping is meant for, a significant degree of AC joint instability or the acromioclavicular joint instability. Alright, so what we're going to ask the athlete to stand in this position first, okay, with the muscles here slightly bulked up. Okay, good. And we are first going to create something called as arm anchor. Okay, so we are going to create an anchor somewhere around the bulge of the biceps. That's really important. Don't go too close to the armpit. So I'm going to create an arm anchor, maybe just one more of it here. So that's my first anchor. My second anchor would be vertical anchors. So the posture of the athlete is really important. So this is nice and upright. Okay, there is no slouch, there is no arching. This is just a nice posture, and this needs to be ensured when you're taping the shoulder joint. All right, so Gary, come over here. So we will start the vertical anchor from somewhere around, this is his shoulder blade, so somewhere around from the inferior part of the shoulder, I will start the vertical anchor. Now if you can come in front and see, this vertical anchor ends right over front in the chest. But obviously we have a sensitive part here, so what we are going to do is we are going to take a small amount of foam wrap or even any form of gauze bandage will do, so that this part can be adequately protected. Yep, that's just nice. And so that's my first vertical anchor. I'll do the same second vertical anchor, slightly lateral from the first one. It comes and ends around the same position where the first vertical anchor ended. All right, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a horizontal anchor. Okay, now if you can come back again, we are now going to start it from the same point here, and we go straight, and this ends around here. So just one more of the same thing, it becomes an horizontal anchor, starting just inferior to the first one, below the first one, and coming beautifully and ending somewhere around here. Okay, so our basic framework of shoulder rigid taping is now ready. We have an arm anchor, we have a vertical anchor, and we have a horizontal anchor. All right, now what we're going to do is, if you can come over to this side, maybe here and focus there. Right, good. I'm going to join the arm anchor. So remember, that's my acromioclavicular joint. That's what I want to stabilize. So I want to cross over first, right on the top, connect one arm anchor to the shoulder, to the vertical anchor. I'm going to cross over one more and connect the arm to the shoulder anchor or the vertical anchor. I'm going to go one more time. So this diamond essentially is passing bang on the center of the acromioclavicular joint. All right, so this is really well protected now. So okay, sometimes tearing off the tape can be quite challenging, but all right, so if I want some additional help, I can actually keep going a little bit more, so that will give me those additional layers of, yeah, so the AC joint you see is right in the center here, so that is where we want to really protect. Now what we want to do, guys, we want to, so come in front of me, keep focusing here. All right, and now we want to start from the outer side, cross over the AC joint. So this becomes like that. Okay, so it moves from posteriorly, it moves from lateral, anteriorly it crosses over to the medial. So then what we are going to do is reinforce one more. So now we are moving medially, it's getting kind of covered completely. All right, and we are finishing it here in front. Okay, now what we do is move from inner side or medial side posteriorly and we are finishing anteriorly here. So what we can do is we can finish it here, or if you want to add a little bit more stability to the whole structure, staying clear of the armpit, you can actually finish it in this manner as well. That's another way of finishing it. So it kind of holds the front of the shoulder from the strength of the posterior or of the back muscles. So that's one way of finishing it. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to see these are loose ends here, they will all come off. So I'm going to lock them up, half on the skin, half on the tape. I'm going to lock it up nicely, bring it in front. All the loose ends here are now going to be securely locked underneath this particular layer of the tape. All right, then you flatten out and make sure minimum crease, it should look neat and clean. Okay, so this is how they can come over here in front of me, from front of me, focusing on that. So what we have done is we have now well secured. So there's where this AC joint is, and multiple layers of tapes have passed through different directions. So this is reinforced quite nicely, and these arm slings have pushed the acromion towards the clavicle, approximating it a little bit more, and this will keep it secure for a while. And using this, the athlete can actually go back to a significant degree of loading, not like extreme degrees, but this will secure the shoulder. It is good to check the abduction movement of the athlete first. Okay, up to here he will feel no problems at all. All right, as the arm gets raised up, it will become tighter and tighter and tighter. Okay, because the acromioclavicular joint movement actually comes in around this part and to the 150 to 180 degrees where the AC joint comes into picture. So with this kind of a taping, abduction of the arm beyond this becomes really restricted. So that's kind of not letting the AC joint come into picture and therefore protecting it by virtue of any excessive movements. But at the same time, if you see other movements like internal rotation is possible almost to a full extent, but external rotation is a bit restricted, because it's again the movement where a lot of injuries happen because the shoulder is pushed anteriorly. So we want to restrict this. All right. So the movement that we want to happen is happening, and the restrictions that we want to happen is also happening. So this is a good way of kind of securing the shoulder, minimizing the load on the AC joint, approximating the acromion and the clavicle, and keeping the shoulder nice, stable and supported. And the athlete should be able to load it to some extent, maybe train at about 60 to 70% of the intensity, but he'll be able to go back to the field and kind of feel good about it. All right, good, thank you.